Good evening, citizens of Coffee County. Want to give you a quick update on what's going on with our recovery efforts with Hurricane Helene. And I'm going to try to be as brief as possible, but there's a lot of information. But the first thing I want to say that God has been good to our community. I mean, the devastation was absolutely horrible, but the kindness and generosity shown throughout this ordeal has been equally overwhelming, particularly for me. If you know my mom, Mother Baker, she passed a couple years ago, and my mom, she would always call me early in the morning and give me scriptures, and I have to read the scriptures, and then at the end of the day, she'd quiz me on it. So for some reason, throughout this ordeal, there has been two scriptures that I have not been able to shake. Psalms 119 and 71. It is good for me that I have been afflicted, that I may learn thy statutes. And Galatians 6 and 2. Bear ye one another's burden, and so fulfill the law of Christ. So those two scriptures have really been on me during this time. It is very difficult to believe that in a few hours will mark the 21st day after the event of Hurricane Helene. God has been good to us. We've been good to each other, and I pray that that continues. These are the updates. The recovery continues. We have big trucks picking up debris. They're all over the county. I ask you to be very mindful of these trucks. Make sure that you're getting your debris to the city right away, but try not to pile it too high to block the vision of people backing out of their driveways or trying to turn on the streets. We still have power lines down. All the red lights have not been replaced. And when I'm driving, I try to avoid those intersections because we don't know how to drive at a four-way stop sign. So it's just easier for me to go around those places where the red lights have not been restored. Electric for the city of Douglas, we're probably somewhere around 95, 96%. With our customers being restored back with power. Georgia Power still has about 13 customers. According to Satilla's website, they have approximately 197 customers out. That 5% as far as with the city that is still out, they have either trees on their roof or there's some type of damage to the weatherhead or electrical stack. So once they get those corrected, the city will then go out and repair those. The city still has about 200, maybe 250 street lights that are out. So our community is not as illuminated as it once was. This is not a real high priority. At the time, restoring power back to the individual homes. So with that, we've sent 2 crews that are assisting Satilla out in the county to reestablish power throughout the county. Excuse me. We did maintain 2 of our crews that are still working to get those individuals that have some damage to their homes. So once you get the damage repaired, call City Hall, we'll still be able to respond. The next thing I want to talk to you about is FEMA. Financially, FEMA is helping with the cleanup, and one of the things is FEMA to me is in 2 parts. The first part was helping the municipalities. They're helping as far as to pay for restoring electrical system distribution, municipal buildings, parks, and removing debris. Just a few examples. One of the things we learned about this hurricane is that just because you are designated as a disaster area, FEMA still has different categories that you have to check the box in. Some of them FEMA will pay 75%, some of them FEMA will pay 100%. So I want to make sure that people understand that, or our citizens understand that. The first phase is sort of to help out the municipalities for us to be able to continue on with our services. Now FEMA has moved into the next segment, which is now assisting that individual citizen and that individual homeowners. And you have to talk to FEMA. I am not a subject matter expert on that. The subject matter experts are actually located in the Atrium Event Center. That's 114 North Peterson Avenue, Monday through Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. They actually have a Social Security representative down there also to assist you with getting some information from Social Security and helping you get a Social Security card. So that's about what we know about FEMA. Want to give you a quick update what we know about the internet. Douglas is at about 12%. Ambrose is about 44%, and this is based off of Vibe's website. West Green, Nichols, and Broxton are at 0. Windstream, we couldn't find any data on Windstream. So one of the things I learned is our printer is Wi-Fi. I'm having a hard time printing stuff. So gotta have to make some adjustments on that. Also, the shelter remains open. We were up around 180 to 200 individuals in the shelter. Now it's about half that. The Salvation Army and Red Cross are scaling back their operations. I would venture to say they're probably going to be here another 7 to 10 days. So we want to make some adjustments. The next thing is Halloween. We suggest that you trick or treat in illuminated areas such as Jordan Stadium on October the 30th, Paulk Plaza October the 31st, and other agencies that are hosting trick or treat events. Try to avoid areas that were hit the hardest. Street lights are out, debris, metal, wire, and other hazardous materials may be on the ground. For instance, the transformers may be on the ground. So please be as careful as possible. I cannot stress enough trick-or-treating in illuminated areas. Going to a designated event where the illumination is gonna be at an acceptable rate so you can see everybody. Going down dark roads and stuff like that, that would be unsafe. So the next thing we're gonna talk about is the Hope Initiative. So I gotta go over here to explain a couple things. You can still hear me? Over there? Good, because I'm gonna be moving around a little bit. So as you can see, you may see this on TV a lot. Well, and I took this from a commercial, and looks like we're having some technical difficulties on this one. Are we good now? Do I need to move to the back? So there's one back here. So we can have Lil. So I saw this on TV. I thought I had came up with this idea, but you see, Jesus. I often say that Coffee County, we are we in an us community, not an I and me. No individual is greater than us. So the Hope Initiative gives us the opportunity to really help out the recovery effort. The main thing is it has to be driven by our faith-based community. So my job tonight is to give you some information, and then have a meeting about it to see how we're going to move forward, or if our community will move forward. So we're not being municipalities doing anything. This will be our faith-based community. As I said, it's about us. Next slide, please. So basically the way it works, we have faith-based community. We have individuals throughout the country that are a part of the faith-based community that want to donate financially in their time. This right here, it speeds up our recovery or gives us a faster recovery, have more helping hands to descend upon Coffee County to help out those in need. Next slide. Without the faith-based community, what happens is the faith-based organizations, they don't necessarily want to participate because it's driven by faith-based. So that just slows up our recovery. So it is monumental that our faith-based community get involved. So basically, the Pilgrims donated $1 million to our recovery efforts. And what happened in Mayfield, Kentucky, is Pilgrims also donated $1 million to their recovery initiative. The faith-based community rallied together, and as of today, they have built 54 new homes, and they have grown that $1 million donation in the vicinity of about $10 million. Next slide. So this is something that I add, what some of the information that will be on the website. It says City of Douglas Recovery Initiative or something. It's the churches of Coffee County. We're not going to just isolate the City of Douglas. So this is what was done in Mayfield. And we have to sit down and have a conversation. You got to have disaster care management, repairs, materials and construction, volunteer coordination, communication and public relations, emotional and spiritual care, community and advocacy, fundraising, and it just goes in a circle. Next slide, please. So the Hope Initiative, I got to go over here because we're ad-libbing because we had some technical difficulties. So the Hope Initiative, I'm going to read to you basically what the Hope Initiative does. It says the Hope Initiative was founded out of the disaster from a tornado in Mayfield, Kentucky on December the 10th, 2021. Collaborated with churches, community leaders, and national disaster relief organizations to help rebuild our community. Coached and shared our experiences with other communities through disasters including tornadoes, floods, and hurricanes. Builds hope by providing pathways to home ownership to those who were lost or destroyed in disaster. This is a Play It Forward program that multiplies the generosity given toward those who were directly affected by the disaster. And this is one of the things that really touched me. The Hope Initiative is one part of the recovery process and prioritize the needs of your recovery, being a local-led effort. This is one thing that we do know. The disaster starts with our local community, and it's going to end with our local community. So what we have to do, and I'll come back and explain this, this is just a map of Coffee County. The first thing and the most important thing is we have to do an assessment of Coffee County. So what I would recommend when we meet Saturday morning is we divide our community up as we would do in the military. So I highlighted grid E6. What we would suggest is that if there's a church in grid E6, that they lead the effort, partner with maybe 4 or 5 other churches, and make sure that we get the young adults involved. ROTC, football players, youth choir, pastors, co-pastors, ushers, the youth choir. And what we do is we have an assessment form, and we go to every house in Coffee County, and we do a visual inspection to say, hey, look, this is what's going on. So, but as you can see from the map, there are multiple grids that we'll sit down and discuss hopefully Saturday. But I'm going to provide all this information because one of the things is I don't like surprises. So you'll have the opportunity to sit down with your first lady, pastors, and have a conversation. Okay? So we'll go back over here to the Hope Initiative. Hopefully this screen here is working. Next slide. So this right here is the Hurricane Helene assessment form. It's pretty simple to fill out. One of the things that we've learned is that Coffee County, technical difficulties, but I'm a soldier, we always make adjustments. So one of the things that we've learned, Hurricane Helene is going to have a financial toll on the county. But our volunteers, they are assigned value, and whatever FEMA assigns that value actually takes off what the city or the county would owe. For instance, if you have a person that cooked 8 hours, FEMA assigns, let's say, $10 an hour to that person. So that person's value is $80. And that comes off proportionately what the county would owe FEMA. So this right here, you can use this form here to backdate prior to October the 19th. And you can also use it going forward. All the churches and civic organizations, the mayor's youth council, the city, the county, the emergency operations center, the hospital, just take a moment and log this in and turn it in. Next slide. So this is a sample of what the assessment work order looks like. What we're going to ask is that when you do the assessments is to bring them to City Hall of Douglas. I didn't get a chance to talk to the mayors of Ambrose, Broxton, and Nichols. I was hoping I would be able to ask them if they could collect theirs locally in Ambrose, Broxton, and Nichols, and then once a day just bring them over to City Hall in Douglas. So basically it's a pretty simple work order assessment form. I would suggest having groups of 2 or 3. So basically you're going to have, we use Blondale, her address and telephone number, job description. We went to Blondale's house. We saw that there was a tree on the roof. She needs a new weatherhead. The site was bent, the meter box, and she still didn't have any power. Need to check the hot water heater and AC unit. We know that she's elderly, she lives alone, she's disabled, and she speaks very little English. We could also put their veteran died there. So I would ask that also at that meeting Saturday that the VFW Center representative, the American Legion Post Center representative, once you do that, move to the next house. And we'll collect all these and we'll figure this out Saturday as having a church to do data entry. So I go back up here. So everything that I've shown on the TV is going to be on our website as soon as Blondell uploads it. So here's the Hope Initiative Restoration Report for Douglas, Georgia. I talked with Pastor Boykin and say that it should say Coffee County. So it's an 8-page report. You and the First Lady, your co-pastor, youth choir director, it's going to be available to anybody. So when we have the meeting Saturday morning, maybe you already have some ideas, or you've talked to your sister church and say, hey, we can take this grid, or we could do this. So right now with the Salvation Army and the Red Cross, they're still occupying the Weir Center and the Teen Center. So if they have left, we'll have the meeting there Saturday morning. But as of now, since of the hurricane, all our larger facilities are taken. And so we'll meet here at City Hall in the commission chambers. It's going to be a little tight. I'll try to be as brief as possible. That's why it's important that we put this information out so our faith-based community can start taking a look at it and maybe crafting a plan. That map, if you can't see it, you can actually come to City Hall or go to the chamber and get this little brochure, and it has the map in it. So Saturday, as of now, 10 a.m., City Hall in the commission chambers. And if we agree Saturday, we will have to immediately start assessing the county. The information and forms are going to be on the City of Douglas website. And if we agree to do this as a faith-based community, the representatives from the Mayfield, Kentucky initiative are going to come back to Douglas on November the 2nd. And we're going to have another meeting to talk with the faith-based community of Coffee County to say, hey, this is what this can grow into. But between Saturday, October the 19th, and November the 2nd, we have to get that assessment done. It is vital that we get that assessment done. And the reason being, FEMA gives us a 90-day window as far as recovery. I think we're on day 20, 21, so that leaves us about 69 days for this. So if we can get the assessment done by having our faith-based community to work together and get out and knock on doors and have that done by November the 2nd, I think we're going to be in good shape to open or unlock the door to those faith-based communities that want to donate and want to donate their time. But we have to have some type of game plan for them to come in. So at this time, I think that is all that I need to cover. So with that, in conclusion, as always, we pray that everyone is safe. We ask that you be safe on Halloween. We ask that God's grace and mercy continues to be upon Coffee County. And I look forward to seeing everybody Saturday morning. And as of now, 10 a.m., faith-based community, City Hall, in the chamber room. If that location changes, we will post it to the city's website. And as always, God bless you, and may God keep you safe, and go Trojans. Thank you for your time.